Okay. That sounds confusing, but also expensive.
Jesus Christ, why does he come off so anti-intellectual? Does he mean to do that? Like, he's like sitting there like, oh man, I just literally don't understand anything. I can't comprehend the size of our government. I can't comprehend this. Wow, the government is just like so difficult to understand. Why the fuck do you have a news show where you give your opinions on it then, dude? Like, holy shit, if you're just like perpetually confused, then why? Why? Are you talking about it on the news? He always just says like, I don't even know what that means. Then look it up, brother. I started watching about 2 minutes of this Tucker Carlson video earlier while I was eating my breakfast, and it was the 2 minutes that I watched was very funny. When can I buy your NFTs? Listen. You can buy my NFTs right now if you just...
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. I hear people say the federal government seems big, maybe bigger than ever. Well, it actually is the largest employer in the world, the federal government. Nothing else comes close. Not Google, not Amazon, not the Communist Party of China, nothing. How many people work for the United States government? Let's put it this way. There are more than 100 countries around the world whose total populations, that is every man, woman, and child, are smaller than our federal workforce. Entire countries.
What a fucking stupid statement. What a stupid fucking statement. Yeah, sure. But like, there's also like little like nation states all over the world, or like city states. Like, isn't... Yeah, Luxembourg is just a city. It is a country. It is a country that has a fourth of the population of the city that I live in. So yes, there's technically 150 countries all over the world that have a smaller population than our federal workforce, but we are a country of 350 million people. What a revelation. So true, Casimir. Who would have fucking guessed? We have a large country, so we need a larger workforce. Oh my fucking God. Who would have guessed? I wouldn't have. This is insane. I would have never thought of this. This is crazy. We need to lay off everyone now. Oh no, what are we gonna do? We have too many federal employees. We have more federal employees than Luxembourg. Oh shit, oh fuck, what are we gonna do?
Many of them. The U.S. government, in other words, is astoundingly large, world historically big, scale without precedent, truly gargantuan. So what do all those people who work there do every day? You may be wondering that. Well, it's a good question. Actually, nobody's really sure, including many of the employees themselves. Fundamentally, the federal government is a mystery. Like the universe, it goes on forever. It makes you feel...
Bro, this is what happens when, like, you fully buy into the Fox News bullshit, okay? Like, oh no, like, we literally don't know how big the federal government is. Like, it just goes on forever. We can't even conceptualize how large our government is. It's like, okay, well, I bet you I could just, like, type in, how many federal employees are there? According to the Office of Personnel Management, the federal workforce is composed of an estimated 2.1 million civilian workers. Oh shit, what are we gonna do? We can't even comprehend the number $2.1 million. 2.1 million? I've never even heard of that number. Whoa, shit, guys. Oh no, it just goes on forever like the universe. Like the universe, a thing that is so large the human mind can't conceptualize it. $2.1 million, less than the net worth of fucking, like a really well-off boomer. Oh no.
Small, thinking about it, which is probably the point. The good news is every once in a while, our government does something you can actually understand. That happened recently when Joe Biden signed a $750 billion piece of legislation called the Inflation Reduction Act.
The Inflation Reduction Act is so unbelievably based. It's a little bit of a misnomer, though. This is as far as I got into this video, by the way, so I don't know what his entire point of the video is. But the Inflation Reduction Act, I don't actually know which part of it reduces inflation. Maybe they'll explain that in this one. But overall, literally every single policy in there is super fucking based. It's super fucking based, guys. It is so awesome. Like the kinds of investments that we do, the kinds of infrastructure for green, it's really a green energy bill from what I remember. I read about it and I watched a video on it. But hey, Sir Chud Studley, how's it going? Thank you for the sub, dude.
About it's been 5 months. Keep up the good work, homie.
Absolutely. But yeah, I can't remember everything that's in the bill, but there's a lot of stuff in there that subsidizes a lot of green energy and makes us competitive on the world stage so that we can actually, sell green energy components like solar panels or windmill parts, so that we can make semiconductors, I think was somewhere in there as well. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that helps ironically enough, people in West Virginia, people who are coal miners, get retrained to work in factories that produce windmill blades so that they can have a higher quality of life. And so they're not just fucked as we transition away from all these fossil fuels, right? So it's honestly an incredible fucking bill that helps the actual working class of this country, the forgotten and left behind fucking Midwesterners who are desperate for work now that all of our manufacturing has been shipped overseas, right? This brings some of that manufacturing back, but not in the traditional way where we're building all these fucking cars, but in the way that we're building new things that people actually want to buy because believe it or not, guys, American fucking cars suck ass unless you're getting an F-150 or some shit like that, okay?
What does the Inflation Reduction Act do? Come on, what are you, slow? The answer is right there in the name.
Wait, hold on. We are going to buy wind power from offshore out-of-country sites and bring it back over? I don't think that's what this bill is. That's what we would be doing if we were continuing down this stupid dumb fuck path of always investing all of our fucking energy and all of our fucking resources into fucking oil and gas, right? If we sell green energy on the black market, is it forced green energy? Very true.
The Inflation Reduction Act is an act that reduces inflation. It's an inflation-reducing act. And that's welcome news because inflation is indeed a problem. In fact, voters say it's the problem they worry about most. So Congress has decided to reduce it. That's how things work in Washington. You identify a crisis and then you pass a law making it illegal. Crisis solved. It's simple. Getting too hot for you this summer? No problem. Just have Congress write a law banning high temperatures. That's effectively our climate change policy, and as we know, it works. The science on that has been settled.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Did I just have a stroke? Did he just say that? Okay, hold on. That was just stupid. We're literally 1 minute and 50 seconds into this.
Our climate change policy. That's how things work in Washington. You identify a crisis and then you pass a law making it illegal. Crisis solved. It's simple. Getting too hot for you this summer? Nope.
That's so stupid. That's not at all what the federal government does. And I don't think anybody believes that's what the federal government does. Does Tucker Carlson think it's like Dora the Explorer tier political analysis? If we don't like something, what do we do? That's right. Make it illegal. What should we make illegal this time? What's that? Louder. Inflation. Good. This is this is the same tier of political analysis that the #1 fucking cable show on television is giving. Holy shit. If we don't like something, we just make it illegal. That's what bills do. Soy, 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 soy.
No problem. Just have Congress write a law banning high temperatures.
It's not in the bill word for word.
Climate change policy, and as we know, it works. The science on that has been settled. Don't deny it. Now Congress has decided to bring that very same approach to inflation, just command it to go down.
I feel like you could like make an entire video essay, an hour-long video essay about every stupid fucking thing he says. Like literally every single fucking stupid thing he says, I'm pretty sure you could make an hour long for every sentence in every single video. It is just like so unbelievably fucking. He has no respect for the people who watch his show. He has no respect for their intelligence. This is like the most demeaning shit, but they eat it up, dude. They eat it up.
You can imagine how terrified inflation will be when it discovers it's being reduced by our all-powerful Congress. Wait, it'll say in horror. You passed an Inflation Reduction Act? Okay, fine, I surrender. Gas is now $1.50 a gallon, hamburgers $2 a pound. Sorry for the high prices. That's the promise of this act anyway. But in real life, a lot of people are still wondering, how is this going to work? Hillary Vaughn from Fox was wondering that. So yesterday, she caught up with Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia.
Joe Manchin
is the man,
our hero,
whose vote made this bill possible.
This is true.
Is the Inflation Reduction Act.
This is true. Joe Manchin actually did his first like extra-based fucking thing that he's since the beginning of the Biden administration, which was to sit down with Chuck Schumer and draft out this bill and make sure that this shit worked. He fucking sat there and forced Sinema, the other fucking Democratic senator reject, to fucking vote for this bill because she didn't want to at first. And he was like, no, you will vote for it, Giga Chad. And then she did vote for it. Like, Manchin has held back a lot of fucking progress for the Biden administration, but this time we have to, we have to give credit where credit is due. This time he did do something good, and it was like, this is like a pretty good bill.
Really going to reduce inflation, she asked?
True, Killer Sieg.
Here's
no
how
respect
Joe
for
Manchin
you
responded.
stupid fucks.
When it comes to inflation, is it misleading to call this the Inflation Reduction Act for Americans when it's not going to make their grocery bill cheaper? It's not going to make everyday goods cheaper for them.
Why would it? Well, immediately it's not, but I mean, we never seen anything happen immediately. Like today, it's turned the switch on and off.
Yeah, exactly. That's like what he just said is like objectively true. No matter what you do to fight inflation, there's never going to be an on and off switch for inflation. Like, what do they think? Like, I know why they do it. Okay, I know why they do it. It's because they don't think that their audience is smart enough to call them on the bullshit. But that's what I'm here to do for you, okay? I'm here to help you guys, all right? Listen, when we do something, there's something called like a leading indicator and a lagging indicator, right? A leading indicator would mean like this is going to happen like before something happens, and a lagging one is going to be after the fact, right? This is indicated before something happens, leading. Lagging happens afterwards, right? A lagging indicator. So during COVID, we had a lagging indicator when we had a whole bunch of infections, right? The lagging indicator was the deaths, right? The leading indicator was the amount of infections. When we had a whole bunch of infections, we knew we were going to, in a couple of weeks, see a whole bunch of fucking deaths because it takes time for someone to die after they get infected with COVID. So in this, right, the leading indicator would be the inflation. The lagging indicator would be the reduction of inflation. The thing that we're looking at here is the actual bill, right? Now, I actually don't know what the bill does to stop inflation, except for maybe try to like capitalize on the economy as it is right now. The economy is actually like burning pretty hot, which is why people are calling this stagflation, because our economy is doing well, but we still have inflation, right? Because of the global supply markets or supply chain things going on. And then we have other things like the oil, everything's contributing all at once. It's a really bad situation. So we have to do something about that. Holy shit. Can I please get just one fucking thing that I need that I can upgrade? God damn. Fuck me. Can I do anything with the wings? No, I'm going to banish the Santa water.
So as Hillary Vaughn pointed out correctly, the law won't immediately make anything cheaper to buy.
Yeah, no bill will. There's no such thing. Like, unless Tucker wanted to pass a bill that said grocery stores, you must freeze all of your prices as they are right now, which would be a terrible fucking economic practice, especially for someone who is so staunchly against socialism as Tucker Carlson, right? To say that we should, you know, halt prices where they're at or lower prices like deliberately, like how the fuck would that bill even work? Like, I don't know what he thinks. What legislation would you pass to immediately get rid of inflation? Please, Tucker, enlighten us, enlighten the politicians. You have the largest television show for cable news on the planet Earth. You have to help us. Please, please. Tucker, you got to help us. Please tell us.
Manchin didn't deny this. He didn't seem bothered by it. In fact, his response was,
yeah,
why would it?
Yeah, why would it? Because it's impossible.
Because you told us it would, you dishonest little creep. And then you printed another $750 billion of fake money, which is exactly the habit that caused historic inflation in the first place, all this fake money.
No, printing money does not. It might contribute to inflation a little bit, but that's not how modern monetary theory works. Like, we've been printing money for literal decades, all right? Since 2008, we did the whole quantitative easing thing, and we've been under our inflation target. We try to hit like what, 2 to 3% inflation every year, and we've been under that, right? If anything, we're catching up to where we should be with our inflation, because our inflation has been so unbelievably low to the point where it's like worrisome. We need something to, we need something to change so that we're not like completely fucked with how low our growth is. Because the reason we need inflation a little bit, just a smidge of inflation, is because it incentivizes people not to sit on their money forever, right? You don't want people to sit on their money forever. You want people to go out and spend their money. And if their money is losing value slowly, little bit by little bit, then they're incentivized to spend that money now on something that will be like more worthwhile, right? So if your money loses 2 to 3% of its value every year, then you're more likely to go out and put that money into something that gains value like 10% year over year, you know?
So what's the upside of this bill exactly? Joe Manchin didn't say. Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland couldn't explain it either. Watch this.
I know that those who've been blaming President Biden for the inflation going up are now giving President Biden all the credit for inflation going down. So we're moving things in the right direction.
Like losing money? Well, if your money is losing value, then yes, you're losing money if you don't spend it. That's why a little bit of inflation is a good thing as a treat, just enough to make you like go out and actually spend that money either on investments or commodities or services or what the fuck ever. If you just have $500 billion and you're not going out and spending that money isn't doing any good for the American economy. So they want that money to like be spent on something. So what do? Instead of just having $500 billion in cash, you're going to have $500 billion worth of investments, because you're going to lose 2 to 3% of that money on average on inflation, right? But you want to recoup that loss by putting it into the stock market and getting like 7 to 10% return on your investment year over year. I mean, if you have like a really, really nice, solid, good investment, right? So like this is non-controversial at all. This is Econ 101. Please don't fucking sit there and pretend like this is like a surprise, okay?
Direction already.
Yeah, and what parts of the bill do you think will quickly work on that specifically?
Next question.
I'm Jamie Raskin. I'll say anything. What parts of the Inflation Reduction Act will actually reduce inflation? Next question, says Raskin. He actually said that out loud, as you just saw. In other words, you've caught me lying, and I don't even care.
What was the lie?
Oh, wait.
Next question. For the
upside of this bill exactly? Joe Manchin didn't say. Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland couldn't explain it either. Watch this.
I know that those who...
Because again, like the only parts of this bill that I've heard anything about are the like green energy things. I don't know if those contribute to inflation or like reducing inflation. Like I genuinely don't know, because I'm not a fucking economist. But so like maybe the title of the bill is a misnomer, but do I care that much about that? Not really, because the kinds of things that we're like looking at to try and curb inflation might not necessarily be a bill through Congress. It might just have to be, the Fed increasing I just don't know. Like maybe, I don't know. Let's see.
Blaming President Biden for the inflation going up are now giving President Biden all the credit for inflation going down. So we're moving things in the right direction already.
Yeah, and what parts of the bill do you think will quickly work on that specifically?
Quickly.
Next question.
I'm Jamie Raskin. I'll say anything. What parts of the Inflation Reduction Act will actually reduce inflation? Next question, says Raskin. He actually said that out loud, as you just saw. In other words, you've caught me.
The rich people have assets. Inflation fucks the poor. Okay. Someone who makes $25,000 a year, okay? Someone who makes $25K a year is going to be less hurt by inflation than someone like your like standard like normal inflation, not like the like runaway inflation that we kind of saw for a little bit recently, right? But like the people who are like ultra rich, if they sit on their money, their $500 billion, not in any kind of investment, they're just losing, you know, several hundred K every single fucking year if they don't spend that money on a thing. So it hurts the rich also. Like, I don't know what the fuck are you. I'm not listening to you anymore. I'm reacting to a video, okay? Your perpetual low IQ takes on econ are not going to stun lock me today, motherfucker.
Lying, and I don't even care. Go away, peasant. So as it turns out, and we hate to break this to you, the Inflation Reduction Act may be a classic example of misinformation. Imagine buying a bottle labeled shampoo and finding out the hard way it was actually drain cleaner. It's like that. So if there's one thing we can learn from the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, it's that in Washington, words no longer have any meaning at all. The empire has officially entered its postmodern phase, where there's no connection whatsoever between the sounds that emerge from the mouths of our leaders and observable physical reality. Congress might as well have...
Wages don't increase with inflation, you muppet? Oh, I'm so sorry. Wow, holy shit. Like, it's almost like you guys don't understand a goddamn thing about econ, okay? Like, it's almost like I understand exactly that wages don't increase with inflation unless you have some sort of, what is it called? A COLA, a cost of living adjustment? Like, I don't know. Like, fuck me, dude.
Call this the Eternal Happiness Act. And why not? That'll probably be the name of the next bill Joe Biden signs. And we hope so, because we are long overdue for Washington to ban sadness. They ought to get on that. Not that this bill...
Ban sadness.
...was even...
Soy.
Not that he even noticed this bill. Biden doesn't get too caught up in the meaning of words these days. Biden is definitively post-literate at this point. Here was the scene as he signed his most recent legislative triumph.
Okay. Here you go. It's now law.
Okay, here we go. They might as well put a sign on his desk saying, this guy has no idea what he's doing right now. Because he didn't, and it couldn't have been more obvious.
What the fuck just happened? What was the problem there? Did I miss something, like, big?
Caught up in the meaning of words these days. Biden is definitively post-literate at this point. Here was the scene as he signed his most recent legislative triumph.
Okay. Here you go. It's now law.
Okay.
What? Wait, what is the problem? I'm so confused. Am I like completely missing out on like an inside joke of Fox News? Wait, what at all was the problem there? Was it him handing the pin? Right after he signs it, when he hands the pin to Manchin?
Here you go. It's now law.
There you go, and now it's law? What is the problem with that? I don't understand at all. It just seems like such a nothing issue. He said, all right, there you go. It's now law because it's an exciting fucking giant bill. This was probably like one of the this is like a defining piece of legislation for his entire administration. For like the past, it's probably like the most important piece of legislation or like the most broad piece of legislation signed in the past, I don't know, like probably 10 years. And then he hands the pen to, he looks senile signing the bill. How do you look senile signing a bill?
Okay, here we go.
There you go.
They might as well put a sign
He didn't
on
look
his
around
desk
like he
saying,
was
this
lost.
guy has no idea what he's doing right now because he didn't, and it couldn't have been.
Listen, I'll fucking join in on the fucking Joe Biden is a little old, right? And does some like old man senile things, okay? Like I understand that, but like that wasn't an example of it right there. But like, yeah, so like I'll join in on the fucking joke occasionally, but like only when it's actually there.
Been more obvious. The 1,000-yard stare was the giveaway. There were doughboys in Verdun who looked less shell-shocked than Biden just did. But the question remained, what was in the bill? Well, let's see. You'll be happy to know that this bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, includes $3 billion for the U.S. Postal Service to buy new electric mail trucks. So why would your mailman need an electric mail truck? No one has ever explained that, but
Yes, they have. Because I read an article that explained why that was a major part of the bill. Because the kind of trucks that they're driving around right now from in the USPS are like ancient fucking like dinosaurs that are held together with gum, cum, and twine. Like, yeah, this like the fucking mail trucks are fucking horrible pieces of shit that are dangers to the people driving them and the people who drive around them. They fucking spew out fumes that are detrimental not just to the environment, to the people driving them. Like they're dinosaurs, yeah. It's probably better to have updated fucking vehicles for the first time in 45 fucking years.
your mailman is getting one. And China is getting even richer from the electric mail truck batteries, which it makes. So there's that.
Isn't part of the Inflation Reduction Act also investing in the United States being able to produce our own lithium batteries? Isn't it also investing a lot of money into these green energy things? We're about a third of the way through this video, and we still haven't heard anything about the green energy aspect of this, unless this is the lead into it. Throughout the USPS, they deliver packages unreliably. Listen, USPS is like one of the only, if not the only, consistently highly rated government run like institution. Like, people love the USPS. People ship with the USPS all the fucking time. They lose packages less often than UPS and FedEx combined.
Then there's another $3 billion allocated to block grants for something called environmental justice. That'll be overseen by the EPA, which used to look after the environment, but now it's in the justice business. Environmental justice gets about $60 billion in this new legislation.
Well, what does that mean?
Which is great if you're in the environmental justice business, but it leaves the rest of us wondering, what is environmental justice actually?
Well explain it to us.
Bill, it means, and we are quoting here, facilitating engagement of disadvantaged communities in state and federal advisory groups, workshops, rulemakings, and other public processes. Okay, that sounds confusing, but also expensive. In all the
Jesus Christ, why does he come off so anti-intellectual? Does he mean to do that? Like, he's like sitting there like, oh man, I just literally don't understand anything. I can't comprehend the size of our government. I can't comprehend this. Wow, the government is just like so difficult to understand. Why the fuck do you have a news show where you give your opinions on it then, dude? Like, holy shit, if you're just like perpetually confused, then why? Are you talking about it on the news? He always just says like, I don't even know what that means. Then look Look it up, brother.
EPA alone gets more than $40 billion in this bill, including more than $30 billion for so-called disadvantaged communities. What are those? Well, they're not really defined. People who vote for Joe Biden. So what it really means...
So people who vote for Joe Biden are disadvantaged communities? Are you just saying that Joe Biden really does just advocate for like the poor and disadvantaged people of the world? Wow, holy shit. Thank you, Tucker Carlson, for finally saying something that's a little bit fucking true.
Is the EPA is going to spread more identity politics and race hate. Are you sick of
race
that yet?
hate?
The Biden White House is not sick of it. They're all in. For context, to show you just how all in they are on that, the total annual budget of the EPA currently stands at about $10 billion. So this is a lot of money flowing to equity and the disadvantaged. And of course, everything hangs on definition. So who gets to define what disadvantage is, a disadvantaged community? Well, that would be the EPA's administrator, a guy called Michael Regan. This is a guy who's in his late 40s who has never had an actual job in his life. He's never worked for real business of any.
Oh, wow. He's in his 40s and he's never had a job and now he's the head of the EPA? Wait, do you think, hey guys, can I get ones in chat if you think that that's a little bit dishonest? Ones in chat if you think that maybe Tucker Carlson might be lying there just a little bit. Do you guys think that Tucker Carlson is lying, that this man who is 40 years old and now the head of the EPA has never actually held a job before ever in his life? Do you think that might be just like a tad bit, a smidge fucking dishonest from our man, Tucky Carlson? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Tucker doesn't lie. Okay, hold on. What did he say the guy's name is?
Well, that would be the EPA's administrator, a guy called Michael Regan. This is
Michael Regan. Where is it? Let's look up. Let's do some more fact checking. We're like Snopes out here. Michael Regan. All right, let's look. Okay, we got that. Let's go to his Wikipedia page. Are you guys ready? You guys ready for checking out this guy's Wikipedia page? Let's see if this guy has ever held a job before in his life. Google who founded the EPA. It was Nixon, right? Lefties in their obsession with quote unquote facts. Environmental regulator. He's been serving as a 16th administrator since March 11, 2021. He is the first black man to serve in the role. Regan has formerly served as Secretary of North Carolina's Department of Environmental Quality and Air Quality Specialist in the United States Environmental Protection Agency. So he's had a job before. Look at that. His elevation to that role was widely praised by environmental groups because of his track record for addressing environmental racism and supporting policy to address climate change. Early life and education. He went to college. Oh, look at that. He began his career as an environmental regulator for the EPA during the Clinton administration and the Bush administration from 1998 to 2008. He then joined the Environmental Defense Fund, where he ultimately became the Associate Vice President for Clean Energy and a Southeast Regional Director. He remained at the EDF for over 8 years. Oh, man. Holy shit. It's like this guy has an entire career where he has worked in the environment and he has had a real job before. God damn. With a Republican, no less, in the past. Unreal. I can't fucking believe that. Wait, guys, did we just fact check Carl Tuckerson? Jesus. Well, yeah, Republicans weren't always the fucking crazy fucking demons that they are nowadays. Well, I say demons, not demons. What's a better word? A better word would be just like, you know, insane death cult that they are nowadays.
This is a guy who's in his late 40s who has never had an actual job in his life. He's never worked for real business of any kind. But he does have
except for the one that we literally just looked up. That wasn't the EPA.
The Daily showed this year, and we're quoting. Everything I do at EPA is through the lens of environmental justice. Contracting, procurement, air quality, water quality, land management starts with, are we protecting the least among us, those who have lacked political representation and those who have not been at the table for decades?
Yeah, so like the people, what was the name of that town? What was the name of the town that didn't literally have, it may not still have clean drinking water, where literally every child born in the past 10 years is a lead baby? Which one was it? It wasn't, it was some Flint, Michigan. Yeah, it's almost like that would be something that the EPA might be a little bit interested in, you know? It might be like, you know, some place that has like chemicals dumped into a river that is someone's clean drinking water. Or, you know, I think here in Houston, my home city, okay, where there is an entire, I think it's the 5th ward, where there's like a huge overrepresentation of people that get cancer because of some chemical plant that used to be there. Right. And so now people that live in the 5th ward have like a huge overrepresentation of cancer if you live there or go to school there. Yeah. Or acid rains, or like literally any of these things that like people actually do fucking care about. Yeah. Holy shit. It's almost like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Tucker. Like you just said earlier when you said you didn't understand anything about this bill. You obviously don't understand anything about anything.
End quote. So really, this is about spreading race hate, as virtually everything they do is.
Race hate is when you stop people from getting cancer because of chemicals in the water. I thought that was what Alex Jones really fucking hated, right? Aren't you friends with Alex Jones?
They call it equity. It's not about protecting the environment. And if you're wondering how the environment's doing, take a very...
Okay, hold on. Does anybody have real fucking question. Do we know why we founded the EPA? It wasn't because we're just like a bunch of tree-hugging hippies. It's because the environment was fucking killing us back. The river in Chicago, I don't know, is it the Chicago River? The river in Chicago literally caught fire several fucking times last century, okay? Like, we had to create the EPA because we were killing the environment and that was killing us. We were literally pumping leaded fucking gas fumes into the air, and children were breathing that in and becoming ultra fucking violent as a result of it, okay? If you want to talk about like the reasons we founded the EPA, it wasn't to, oh, well, I just want to make sure that we have frogs that, you know, are able to eat flies in the future because I just really love biology and nature. No, it's because we were fucking the environment so hard that it was fucking us up. EPA.gov/history/origins. The American conversation about protecting the environment began in the 1960s. Rachel Carlson had published her attack on the indiscriminate use of pesticides, Silent Spring, in 1962. Hey guys, guess what? You know pesticides, those things that used to give people fucking cancers until we started fucking regulating them. Concern about air and water pollution has spread in the wake of disasters. An offshore oil rig in California fouled beaches with millions of gallons of spilled oil. Near Cleveland, Ohio, the Cuyahoga River, choking with chemical contaminants, had spontaneously burst into flames. I'm sorry. It was Cleveland, Ohio, not Chicago. Sorry. Astronauts had begun photographing the Earth from space, heightening awareness of that the Earth's resources are finite. It's literally the origins of the EPA. In early 1970, as a result of heightened public concerns about deteriorating city air, natural areas littered with debris, and urban water supplies contaminated with dangerous impurities, President Richard Nixon presented the House and Senate groundbreaking 37-point message on the environment. These points included requesting $4 billion for the improvement of water treatment facilities, asking for national air quality standards and stringent guidelines to lower motor vehicle emissions, launching federally funded research to reduce automobile pollution, ordering a cleanup of federal facilities that had fouled air and water, seeking legislation to end the dumping of waste into the Great Lakes, proposing a tax on lead additives and gasoline, because guess what? When children breathe in, or basically anyone breathes in lead, it lowers your ability to think. And when in children, it destroys your ability to like cognitively grow, and you end up becoming like a lead baby, which led to possibly the incredible high surge in violence throughout the late 70s and early 80s through the early 90s. So I don't know, dude. Just seems a little bit fucking weird to me that like suddenly the EPA, like this environmental justice, okay, so maybe they're calling it environmental justice, and that is like a cringe like take for you because you don't like justice. But like this has been around for a long fucking time, and it's no fucking surprise to literally but anybody else.
Very close look. Is anyone monitoring the chemicals in our water? No. We're busy conducting workshops for billions of dollars with disadvantaged communities. Right. So that may not be helping the environment, but it's definitely not reducing inflation. Inflation reduction is not the same as protecting people who lack political representation.
I mean, here's the thing about like reduction in inflation. I would be like full on like having to agree with him on this point, except for I have a quarter of a brain cell to my name, which Tucker Carlson doesn't have, obviously, since he seems so confused about literally every function of the federal government, like as like showed in this fucking video, right? Yeah, Nixon sounds like a real fucking lip cuck, doesn't he? But like, here's the thing, like, economics are incredibly fucking difficult to like just make statements about, right? I can't just like make the statement that because this has mostly to do with a lot of like environmental stuff that it doesn't reduce inflation, right? Because I can foresee like some environmental policy that takes some money out of the system, right? Like, oh, well, we just invested a fuckload of money into this, right? That money is now like invested. It's not like in the monetary system, right? It's the velocity of money has now been reduced. Velocity of money meaning like how often each dollar gets spent every year or every month or every single day, right? So how many dollars are spent in a day? That's the velocity of money, essentially, very dumbed down, right? So like I can see this bill introducing things that do reduce inflation in that way, right? Which might be the best way that the federal government can actually control inflation right now, seeing as like inflation isn't as a result of our government's policies. It's mostly as a result of global supply chain shortages and like global like oil shortages and like price hikes, right? Like that's what the major drivers of inflation are right now. So if their plan right now is like, oh, yo, guess what, guys? Guess what we're about to do? We're about to like spend a bunch of money that's investing this stuff, and it's and we're going to be spending tax dollars, taking them out of the monetary system and making it to where like this stuff isn't as easily spent out on everyday goods and services. Well, yeah, that is definitionally reducing inflation. So like maybe that is the case. But I genuinely don't know because I didn't read all 5 billion pages of this fucking massive fucking spending bill, right? I'm not a fucking economist. I'm not a fucking policy maker. I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand all of the legalese in these things, but like I can imagine these things, right? I don't think that any economist who hasn't read the Inflation Reduction Act but knows like the broad strokes would ever say like this is not going to reduce inflation at all.
That's of course Joe Biden's base, the 81 million who voted for him.
He still doesn't believe.
It's really about.
He still doesn't believe.
Voters. That would include virtually every bureaucrat in Washington. They do very well in this bill, of course, as long as they promise to spend it on equity, however they want to define that. There's $25 million for the Government Accountability Office to determine, quote, whether the economic, social, and environmental impacts of the funds described in this paragraph are equitable. The bill also calls for $10 million to be spent on equity commissions within the Department of Agriculture to combat racism. In other words, to commit racism.
Commit racism.
The government 80 years ago has.
We're committing racism, everybody. Let's go.
That's true.
Damn, man, did he just say that we're committing racism as the federal government? I didn't know that the federal government was a fucking gamer, dude. Holy shit, base. You think they play League?
No one notices it for some reason. Well, we do. There's more than $2 billion for the General Services Administration, something called the Federal Permitting Improvement Steering Council. That gets $350 million. The Bureau of Indian Affairs gets $220 million. The Office of Native Hawaiian Relations gets $23 million. And it's not just bureaucrats who are getting paid. There are billions of dollars in new tax credits. Who do those go to?
23 million is fucking nothing, dude. Do people not understand this? Like, it's like actually fucking nothing. The federal government, how big is our... Hold on, really quick. I'm sorry, I just got to keep on Googling stuff. I fucking hate Tucker Carlson. I hate Fox News. It actually triggers the fuck out of me. How big is the U.S. economy 2022. $24.85 trillion. That's how big our economy is. Okay. Now, there's a certain percentage, I don't know what it is, okay? There's a certain percentage that we can't spend over our GDP, otherwise it's like just objectively bad monetary policy, okay? Guess what? 28 million is not a very big percent. It's like 0.000 something of trillions of dollars.
Joe Biden's donors. Of course, not to you. Are you in private equity? No. No, you're not.
Yeah, most people don't have like giant stacks of cash in equity. Color me fucking surprised, Tucker.
So you don't get anything. Biden described these credits yesterday.
You do get something. When we invest in stuff, everybody gets money because like, or everybody's like life improves because as we invest in things, goods and services get cheaper, Tucker. Like, it's like the economy isn't just like you either get money or money is taken from you. It's almost like there are other factors that are really, really important. Holy fuck.
The Inflation Reduction Act invests $369 billion to take the most
69
aggressive
based
action ever in confronting the climate crisis and strengthening our energy security. It's going to offer working families thousands of dollars in savings by providing them rebates to buy new and efficient appliances, weatherize their homes.
See, and I like we were saying earlier, I'll be the first to admit, he sounds a little bit sleepy here, all right? Sleepy Joe. He does sound a little bit sleepy here. He's a little bit slurry, okay?
Security. It's going to offer working families thousands of dollars in savings by providing them rebates to buy new and efficient appliances, weatherize their homes, get tax credit for purchasing heat pumps and rooftop solar, electric stoves, ovens, dryers.
For a second. So you watch that and you realize maybe they are going to run him again because he doesn't actually exist. He is merely a conduit through which they change America. He has no idea what he's saying. He reads the script. He seems kind of non-threatening and out of it.
What?
That may seem embarrassing to you, a problem.
What, heat pumps? Sorry, I live in Houston, Texas. What are heat pumps? Is that something for like people in shitty cold weather?
To you, you wonder, what does his wife think of all this? It's so demeaning and degrading. It's cruel to do this to a guy, feed him full of drugs and have him read someone else's script. But if you're trying to...
God, yeah, like, can you guys imagine how fucking good the world would have been if Trump had just read somebody else's script instead of constantly reading or like just like speaking off the fucking cuff? Like when he said like all the fucking crazy shit he always fucking said. Like when he said the crazy shit about like putting disinfectant into your fucking bloodstream and shit. Like this is why we don't want presidents to fucking speak off the cuff, especially when they're brainlets like fucking Trump, or maybe just like a little bit senile like Mr. Biden, you know? From one spot to another, you can use it to heat a house or reverse the flow to cool a house in one system. They are highly efficient. Oh, cool.
To change the country really fast, this is very useful to you. So of course they're going to run him again. So again, to the bill, a nonprofit called Rewiring America, which supports this bill, decided to figure out how much money Americans are eligible to receive from the Inflation Reduction Act based on zip code, household income, tax filing status. So according to Rewiring in America, a married couple with one child in San Francisco, earning the median household income there of $120,000, would be eligible for nearly $12,000 in tax credits. But according to that same group, that same family of three making the median income in Youngstown, Ohio, for example, would be eligible for just $81 in tax credits.
Wait, hold on.
Ooh, that's...
Go back.
According to that same group, Americans are eligible to receive and out of it. That may seem embarrassing to you, a problem to you. You wonder, what does his wife think of all this? It's so demeaning and degrading. It's cruel to do this to a guy, feed him full of drugs and have him read someone else's script. But if you're trying to change the country really fast, this is very useful to you. So of course they're going to run him again. So again, to the bill, a nonprofit called Rewiring America, which supports this bill, decided to figure out how much money Americans are eligible to receive from the Inflation Reduction Act based on zip code, household income.
What does that mean? How much they're entitled to receive from the Inflation Reduction Act? This isn't a spending bill that puts money directly in people's pockets. Most bills from the federal government aren't just like making sure that people get a fucking fuckload of money just like delivered into their fucking bank account. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Tax filing status. So according to Rewiring in America, a married couple with one child in San Francisco, earning the median household income there of $120,000, would be eligible for nearly $12,000 in tax credits. But according to that same group, that same family of three making the median income in Youngstown, Ohio, for example, would be eligible for just $81 in tax credits.
Okay, so Youngstown, Ohio. Well, this is probably because like San Francisco is more expensive than Youngstown, Ohio. Population 64,000. Yeah, it's a significantly smaller fucking town. It's like is it a suburb of somewhere else? Okay, it's outside of Pittsburgh. It's outside of Akron. Okay, it's like in between both of those. Got it. Never heard of it. Okay, the reason that I've never heard of it is because it's fucking tiny, and most of the people there probably aren't struggling in the same way as someone who's like super poor in fucking, oh, I say super poor, 120,000 for a family of three is probably middle class, or like in like a kind of maybe a sketchy area in San Francisco. I don't know San Francisco that very well, but I know it's super expensive there. Like these are two different, completely different areas. So yeah, the calculation is going to be different for people in different areas of the country.
Credits. Ooh, that's weird. So the middle class gets shafted while people making 120 grand in San Francisco.
120 grand? In San Francisco is upper class to you?
Make out. Okay. So most Americans who are making middle class wages would be eligible for more savings only if they're willing to go out and spend thousands of dollars on things like a new heat pump water heater, an electric stove, or a heat pump clothes dryer. Right, none of which work very well. But the bigger issue is that all these...
None of which work well, and yet we have Killer Sieg, a conservative in chat, saying that they're incredibly efficient and based as fuck. Okay, well, who am I going to trust? The guy that doesn't even understand our own federal government, or the guy that, like, I know is a very, very intelligent dude? I don't know. Maybe this time I'm going to pull from personal experience. I'm going to trust Killer Sieg on this one.
These tax credits for Joe Biden's base are going to increase inflation. This is the same thing that happened to college tuition.
Wait,
the
why?
government subsidized it. It got much more expensive.
That's not why it
Perfect.
God, I hate his little laugh.
As the Washington Examiner has reported, electric vehicle manufacturers are now raising the price of their cars now that the so-called Inflation Reduction Act includes a $7,500 tax credit for electric vehicles. Quote, ahead of the...
Yeah, this is based as fuck. You can trade in your shit gas guzzler that you're spending a shit fuck-ass load of money on, right? And you can trade that in for something else. Yeah, that's really good. You can trade it in for a subsidized electric vehicle, which is like the way of the future. That's the way that everything is going. Sorry, buddy. Sorry you don't like the electric vehicles, but like it's the way that we're going.
Inflation Reduction Act extending the tax credit of up to $7,500 for purchases of new electric and hybrid vehicles. Ford and GM announced price increases at similar rates. You following this? So the government pays you back your own money to buy a product, and then the manufacturer of the product raises the cost of that same product by the same amount. Oh, so it's a subsidy for them.
Say it again.
Ford and GM announced price increases at similar rates. You following this? So the government pays you back your own money to buy a product, and then the manufacturer of the product raises the cost of that same product by the same amount. Oh, so it's a subsidy for them, not savings for you. Last week, Ford announced price hikes between $6,000 and $8,500 for most of its lineup of its F-150.
Oh, F-150 Lightning electric vehicles. It's electric Hummer cost. Oh, holy shit. What an unbelievably dishonest fucking framing. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that the subsidization from the federal government on this shit is going to be for like sedans and shit like that, not F-150s and Hummers. So they increase the price of the F-150s and Hummers and not on the like sedans. Okay, I'm not concerned at all. I'm sorry. Does he really think that his audience is that fucking stupid? Who the fuck is buying a Hummers? Who's buying an electric Hummer?
50 Lightning electric vehicles. Well, General Motors upped its electric Hummer costs by $6,200.
So 2 models that aren't covered by this.
What is that?
Nothing.
They don't want to answer
It's a
the
nothing
question,
burger.
because the only potentially deflationary aspect of this bill is the tax increase, which is, of course, probably not a good idea when you're in a recession. But our government is not willing to cut spending and stop printing money, so instead their solution is to take money from you. This is...
Yeah, well, I'm so sorry. That's literally how you stop inflation. Probably higher taxes, right? But I'm pretty sure that the higher taxes for this bill aren't targeting people who are like low-end earners, right? I'm like fairly certain that was the case, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see what he says.
This is classic, right? So you print all the money you want because you hold the reserve currency.
Once again, printing money doesn't like increase our inflation nearly as much as like the other things, right? The spending that we're doing has been like necessary for the past 20 years, but nobody has wanted to do it because our entire fucking system is in gridlock. So base Biden is coming through and fucking saving us by fucking spending all this money. What the fuck was that? Okay, cool.
Currency, and then when inflation goes up, you just try and pull it out of the system through taxation.
Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Modern monetary theory.
Yes.
Look it up.
Yeah, modern monetary
According to the
theory is
Congressional Budget
based.
Office, this act will cost the middle class $20 billion a year in new taxes. The Joint Committee on Taxation has concluded that under this bill, 61% of taxpayers making between 40 and 50 grand will see a tax increase. 91% of Americans making between 75 and 100 will see their taxes go up, and 97% of Americans making between 100 and 200 will see their taxes go up. So if you're making 100 grand in Arlington, Virginia, are you rich? Oh no, you're barely scraping by.
Wait, hold on. You literally just said earlier in this video that like someone who is making 120K, a family of 3 making 120K, which is like 2 teachers with a child, okay, is upper class in San Francisco. Now you want to fucking use the argument that like if you're making 100K in Arlington, Virginia, that you're a fucking poor fucking like scumfuck loser? Like, please, fucking it's just so fucking dishonest. I need to stop saying things that I can't say on Twitch. I need to stop. It's just I want to say that so often to people. Jesus Christ. Holy fucking shit. This guy is such a shitbag. He's so blatantly fucking dishonest. On one hand, someone who is a family of 3 making 120K in San Francisco is upper class, but someone who's making 100K is a poor fuck who lives in like Arlington, Virginia. You can't fucking win. You can't fucking win. He's just dishonest as fuck. And I actually don't even know what to fucking say to that. It's just so unbelievably dishonest. It's so like blatant. It's so blatant. How's it going, M60?
So it turns out that Biden was lying. Just yesterday, he told us that no one making under $400,000 a year will see their taxes go up. Watch.
And I'm keeping my campaign commitment. No one, let me emphasize, no one earning less than $400,000.
No, Larry, all right. To be completely, so that I'm like ultra clear, what I'm trying to say is I was making the argument that he just made earlier. Right? When he brought up the San Francisco example, right? There's more tax subsidies for people that are living in San Francisco under like one part of this bill because like it's a much more expensive place to live. And if you're making $120,000 in San Francisco, you're like not rich, okay? You're not rich in that city, all right? You're scraping by because housing prices are incredibly fucking expensive and, you know, it's just like it's a very expensive place to live, right? Whereas, like, if you're living in Youngtown, Ohio, the other town that was brought up in the example, right? If you're making $80,000 a year, you're probably either in the same area or you're probably a little bit better off, like financially, right? but he wants to like use both arguments. He wants to say that like, oh, well, if you're making $100K a year in San Francisco, oh, well, they only care about you because you're a Democrat voter. Whereas if you're in Youngtown, Ohio, and you're making $80,000, they don't care about you because you're a Trump voter. And now he's trying to say, well, oh yeah, Arlington, if you're making $100,000 a year, they don't care about you. Well, you're using both arguments in the same video. Like that's why I'm saying he's dishonest. Like he's using both arguments. He's speaking out of both sides of his mouth over and over and over in this video. It's crazy. Like I haven't watched a Tucker Carlson video in so long. They trigger the fuck out of me.
Dollars a year will pay a penny more in federal taxes. Folks.
Yeah, not a penny more. I mean, again, you can't blame the guy. He's just a mannequin.
Wait.
Whoever wrote that knew he was lying. There is one group of Americans who will not pay more under that bill, and that's Biden's donors, the richest people in the country. Thanks to the Democratic Party's hedge fund support,
Hold on.
we have a lot of that.
I gotta fucking know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. All right. I'm a fucking streamer. Okay. I'm still in college. I have an econ class that I have to go to later today. Okay. Let's look this up. Fucking Inflation Reduction Act tax increase. Let's look at it, guys. We got to look at it. Okay. Let's do a little bit of fact checking. Let's just look a little bit. Details and analysis. Is it only hedge fund people that get a tax break? Blah, 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 blah. This is 13 minutes long. Don't do that. Oh, fuck. Come on. Major tax provisions. Okay. I just want to see what the why did they name Inflation Reduction Act? Name it. Well, I don't. Again, I don't know. I don't know if there's something in here that I don't know about that it talks about in like reducing inflation. He doesn't want to talk about it. Obviously, he's just talking about like taxes, increasing taxes. But hey, guys, by the way, increasing taxes again. Like do I still have the paint thing open? Yeah, guys, look at this. Okay, how do I select things? How do I select like a? Can I do can I just like click on something to select it? Is that like an easy? God damn. I fucking so viscerally hate paint so much. Okay. We're going to do undo. Okay. Look, this is supply and demand. Okay. Program 2 basic. Yeah, I know, but oh, you know what? I actually have to take a Photoshop class because I don't have an arts class because for some reason from when I was a music minor and I did like vocal stuff, like that arts didn't transfer over to my degree. So now I have to take a Photoshop class. So we'll have Photoshop on stream soon. Anyway, so we have a supply and demand curve. Okay. Let's think about this as inflation, right? As the amount of money in the system increases, the value of that thing decreases, right? Now, let's say that we want to reduce the amount of money that is in the system. Okay. How do we do that? Well, we would get another red line and we would want to shift it over. We would want to reduce the amount of money in the system. So we would move it over here. Oh, look at that. We have now just increased the value of our money, right? That is how we do it. That's how you slow down inflation, by reducing the amount of money in the system, right? Now, how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of different fucking ways. You can try to change the federal what is it fucking called? The interest rate. You can try and change the federal interest rate for loaning and borrowing money. You can increase taxes because that reduces the amount of money in the system because there's less money that people spend out in the system. It might suck. It might fucking suck, but it's true. Okay. That's how you get rid of inflation. These are different ways. Taxation is probably the only like policy that I know of off the top of my head. Okay. That is a way to reduce inflation. That's literally the only thing I know off the top of my head. But again, I'm not an economist. I'm just a fucking streamer. And I'm just like doing things. Okay, but what I want to see here is, distributional effects on Inflation Reduction Act, percentage change. Okay. What is this? Over the long run, Inflation Reduction Act would raise marginal income tax rates faced by higher earners and corporations. Would raise marginal income tax rates faced by higher earners and corporations. Okay, so let's look at it. Income group. The first 20%, the first fifth, second fifth, third fifth, fourth fifth. Oh, no, we don't go up that high that time. Look at that. So 2.1 conventional, what does that mean? What's the 2032 part? Okay, hold on. Let's read this. Over the long run, the Inflation Reduction Act would raise marginal income tax faced by higher earners and corporations. The distributional results that follow do not include the impact of drug pricing provisions or IRS enforcement or after-tax incomes. The proposals would increase the after-tax income on the bottom quintile by about 2.1% in 2023 on a conventional basis, largely due to the expanded healthcare subsidies. The top 1% of earners would experience a 0.1% increase in after-tax income in 2023, driven by expanded energy tax credits that offset reduced incomes from the corporate book. So is this like adding everything together, or is this like what the bill actually says? After the expanded healthcare subsidies expired in 2026, the bottom 20% of filers would see a smaller increase in after-tax incomes, reflecting the remaining expanded credits. The bottom quintile. So over the long run, we get the lowest. Well, I say we because like this is where I'm at because I'm poor fuck. But dynamic long run, it's a tax break. Is there something that's like a little? This is very. I'm going to open that up so that I can actually read it later and understand it more. Fuck. We could read Forbes because they're usually more understandable. Let's see. We're doing some, guys, guess what? It's research time. Will the Inflation Reduction Act raise your taxes? President Joe Biden has signed into law a wide-ranging climate, health care, and tax bill named the Inflation Reduction Act by its Democratic sponsors in Congress. It was passed with no support for Republicans. Blah, blah, blah. Will it raise your taxes? Blah, 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 blah. Your tax bill. What does the law do? Blah, 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 and devote $300 billion money that were toward reducing the federal deficit. Higher tax. It's not likely. Will you pay higher taxes as a result of the new law? It's not likely, according to Jeremiah Barlow, head of family wealth services at Mercer Advisors in Santa Barbara, California. Barlow says the typical American won't see any tax impact. The typical American won't see any tax impact. The big impact will be on corporations with the creation of a 15% minimum tax and taxing corporate stock buybacks. I don't know what I think about either of those things, but okay, cool. It's taking money out of the system. The law calls for a tax of at least 15% on large corporations that earn $1 billion or more in book income, which is the amount of profit reported on their financial statements. The new corporate tax is expected to generate $113 billion in tax revenue. We get a tax break from the inflation. Okay, I don't care about all of this. I just want to see. So it doesn't seem like they actually increase the taxes on low-end earners. Because reading this is a lot of information, right? And it has all of this, but I don't know how to parse any of this information. Distributional effects on the Inflation Reduction Act, but this isn't the increase or decrease on our taxes. This is just how much the percent in. I don't fucking understand it. I have to read the entire article. Fuck. But it doesn't look like the average American is going to see an increase in taxes. Got it.
In the private equity world, the final revision of this bill keeps the carried interest loophole in our tax code.
Yeah, something that Trump like literally expressly said that he used all the fucking time. Like, it was the only reason that the bill was passed is because they like agreed to keep that in there because of people like Joe Manchin and Sinema. It's almost like, you know, the people that have been fighting the hardest against Democrats are the ones that tried to fight for that one to stay in there, I'm pretty sure. Unless I have that backwards and there's someone else that tried to get in there. But I'm pretty sure it was Manchin and Sinema that said they wanted to keep that one in there. And that's why, like, they were able to get them to, like, stay on board for it. But maybe I'm wrong, you know?
That means that people who work in finance, many parts of finance, are able to report their income as interest and pay half the taxes that you do. No one can defend this policy. It is indefensible. Even the people who benefit from it will not defend it. They're embarrassed of it. They take advantage of it, of course. But it's a scam, and everybody knows it. And yet it remains in our tax code because they paid off the Democratic senator from Arizona and a bunch of others. So just in case the message wasn't clear, the bill gives the IRS another $80 billion to hire 87,000 new auditors. So what are those?
This is based. This is based. This is based, guys. I love the fact that we're finally doing something about our shit fucking IRS. We have not been able to collect taxes on the rich in so fucking long. All of the people in this fucking country that have sat there and fucking like run us for all we're fucking worth are finally going to be investigated because they can be. They can be investigated fucking finally. It's crazy. It's crazy. Jesus, how is that bad? How is what bad? Increasing, like, people fucking hate the idea of funding the IRS. It's like some mortal fucking sin because, yeah, we need more investigators. We haven't been able to investigate anybody. We haven't been able to do it. Why? Because we've like historically defunded it because like it's a good fucking like virtue signals for all of your base. People love it when you say, no more new taxes, no more new taxes. I'm not going to let the IRS come after the little man. Meanwhile, they defund it to the point where like all of their buddies in the fucking like most expensive or the most like what's the word I'm looking for? The most financially like lucrative fucking areas of our economy are like making bank off of the fact that they can't be audited by the IRS easily because the IRS has no fucking funds. The IRS is still like using fucking paper files and shit. All right. They're way behind the fucking times because they have no budget because both Republicans and Democrats have like virtue signaled for decades about how they're going to like, you know, save American taxpayers their money. We all need to pay more taxes. Okay. I am for like raising everybody's taxes at the end of the day. All right. I just don't like it when people lie about one party raising taxes on people over the other. Right. I think we should be raising taxes on the lowest in society and on the highest in society. Everyone should be having a higher tax rate because that's the only way that we can fund social programs that actually help people's like quality of life. All right. If you look at places that actually have a high quality of life in the world, they have a high tax rate. All right. For almost everybody. Right now, people get that money back. They actually see the return on investment that their tax dollars are getting. But you know, we don't because we don't have high taxes at all. And we don't really spend a lot on social shit in the way that other countries do. So we're just a little bit behind the curve on that, but that's why we should be spending more. Okay. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband was sentenced to 5 days in jail and 3 years probation after pleading guilty Tuesday to misdemeanor drunk driving charges stemming from a crash. As part of his probation, Paul Pelosi will also be required to attend a 3-month drunk driver class and install a device in his car's ignition that will require him to provide a breath sample for the engine start for 1 year. Okay, cool.
Auditors, those armed auditors at the IRS, have to do with a tax code this unfair. Well, the truth is,
yeah, they should be armed. We went through. Hey, listen, we can watch some more of them after this. But we watched literally 3 hours worth of TikToks, and we didn't even get halfway through them. 3 hours of TikToks of conservatives saying that they were going to shoot any IRS agent that came anywhere near their house. Yeah, I would want a fucking Glock if I was fucking collecting people's taxes too, because these people are fucking crazy. They're calling for civil war and saying they're going to shoot the IRS because they think the IRS is coming after their guns. Yeah, I think that they should be armed. It's the only way to keep them fucking safe. It's insane.
if you have a tax code this unfair and it keeps getting more unfair every year,
yeah, and we've just like looked at some articles that said that Mr. Tucker Carlson is lying here about the taxes. So, okay.
Have to hire armed goons to make people obey. because they won't otherwise.
Because people like you are telling people that the IRS is coming after their guns and coming after them, when the reason that they hired more IRS agents is because like people like you, rich fucks, the actual elites in this country that, you know, pull on people's emotions and their heartstrings to get them to do your bidding and your fucking legwork and the electoral system, right? You're a fucking propagandist, okay? People like you are benefiting from the lack of fucking federal oversight into your taxes. Yeah, I bet you would want people to go out there and shoot every IRS agent. I bet you would be that kind of person. You wouldn't do it yourself. No, that would look really bad. You would take the minimum security fucking jail time for 1 year after like cheating the American people out of what they earned off of your fucking dollar. That's right. We're coming after you first, motherfucker. All right? We're coming after you first. Yeah, it's no wonder they need to be armed. It's because people like you scare the fuck out of everybody in the United States, thinking that the IRS is coming with armed goons to come and take their guns and all their money, and they're going to put them in audit fucking hell for all of eternity. Fucking such a loser. I hate this guy.
7,000 new armed IRS agents. How many is that? Well, for perspective, the IRS currently has about 78,000 total.
Okay.
So this bill will make the IRS larger than the army of the nation of Italy, also the nation of the...
What? Do you... Hey, Luigi! Luigi, come over here! Do you see all this pencil pushers? They're running up on us. The pencil pushers, they're running up on us. They're armed with 1911s. What are we going to do? Oh, just shoot them with a cruise missile. Please, Benedito, shoot them with a cruise missile. They only have handguns. Like, what does it matter if they're larger than the fucking army of Italy? Who cares? Italy has like 1/10 of our population. What a strange fucking population. It's just like the beginning of this fucking, the beginning of this video, he said that we have more federal employees than 150 nations around the world. Like, congratulations. There are some nations that have like 45 people in them. Like, wow, holy shit, this island nation has more or has fewer people than our federal government has employees? Who would have fucking guessed? It's just so stupid. I hate it so much.
Philippines, also the UK.
Okay?
What?
The UK is tiny. How many people live in the UK? UK population 2022 67 million. UK military how many what is the not the recruitment, the military personnel, active military personnel 2022. 80,000 regular full-time personnel, 3,000 Gurkhas, I don't know what that is, 52,600 reserve personnel. Okay, so we have a larger tax like investigator thing than like the small fucking nation of United Kingdom. Who fucking cares? Not just size, because like they might like that might have gotten me. I didn't want to put size because that might have gotten me like their budget or some shit, and I didn't want to deal with that.
Thanks, Joe Manchin. So what are all those agents going to be doing? Well, we're not sure, but we do have an IRS training video for you. Watch.
In addition to being accountants, we're also
undercover special agent,
which is very interesting because a lot of the special agents that work for the IRS, they don't come from a law enforcement background. We get to do the same things like all the other law enforcement officers do. Things happen, we have to be able to respond, so we have to be ready.
So we teach our agents to...
Yeah, again, we watched like several hours of 1 to 3 minute TikToks. Hours of these things. of them saying that they were going to shoot any IRS agent that came to their door because people like Tucker Carlson are scaring them into thinking that they're coming to turn their children trans and steal their guns. The IRS, for some reason, is in charge of that. Like, yeah, it's no wonder people feel fucking scared, dude. It's no fucking wonder. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I would support the fucking IRS getting just a little bit of fucking money and a little bit of fucking training for the inevitable fucking crazy dude that pulls out an AR-15 to take them the fuck out.
A firearm to be able to shoot. We teach them defensive tactics and methods of defending themselves and protecting others as well. So they go through that entire process so that not only can they analyze records, but they also have that law enforcement component.
So in an actual democracy, IRS agents should be taught to be polite. But under Joe Biden, IRS agents are taught...
Hold on. Does he think that every single time, like, hey, you accidentally paid $100 less on your taxes than you were supposed to, kicks in the fucking door, shoots their dog, flashbangs them, like puts their fucking infant child in fucking handcuffs, fucking pepper sprays everyone in the fucking household? Like, is this what they think is gonna happen? God, I fucking hate conservatives so fucking much. They're such fucking snowflakes. They're such fucking snowflakes, dude. I can't fucking handle it.
Quote, to shoot. How's that not war on the population of the country? Subscribe to the Fox News.
War on the population of the country? Okay. Fucking snowflakes. Okay, thank God that video's over. Jesus fucking Christ. What a dishonest fucking loser. Like, I think we all knew that he was dishonest, but that was like above and beyond. Like he defeated his own arguments multiple fucking times. I can't fucking believe. We have Google.